old were you when you first really started in the business? Because obviously Sweet Life of Zack and Cody was before High School Musical.
Yeah.
And
But I was reading you were like 3 years old.
Yes, yeah.
It's
Yeah. I was
insane.
3 when I started in commercials and modeling in New York City. And then I was 8 when I did Les Miserables, like on
Mhm.
tour. And then I was around 10 years old when I started doing TV stuff in LA. And so, yeah, I started very young, but I didn't get success until I was 18. I was 18 when I did Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. It looked like I was
I
14,
was
but I
going to
was
say 18 is crazy because I would have guessed like 15.
I remember the Disney Channel president being like, "You're the oldest on this channel." Lovely.
But they were probably so happy they didn't have to like pay other people to be on set with you because that's a
Yeah,
whole
no,
other
I did
thing.
not have to do that. I also like loved that I was able to have a kind of normal life. Like I went to school, I went to public school. I worked in clothing stores when I was 16 years old. Like I got to really experience life before. A lot of my friends that I grew up with in this business, like have never had a real job or have never, you know, like gone to school and done proms and stuff. And so it's like I can't imagine not having that experience. And so I was really fortunate. I remember hating it at the time. Like I was so mad that my parents were making me do that because I was like, I work on TV shows. Oh, I still have to do homework and try to like, I was going to school every day and it was really hard. And then I was like having to work at like clothing stores that were like just, scraping gum off the floor because my manager hated me, I think. And I was just like, this fucking sucks. It's just, but you know what? It makes you so grounded and like really appreciate when all of this stuff happened. I was like so grateful and been like, there's like other things that I could be doing. And I just felt like I really was grateful that my parents had me go through that and I learned so much.
Right. It almost feels like everybody has different chapters to their lives, but like yours truly was like, all right, school, you were still doing everything, but then a whole new chapter started when you're 18.
Yes, yeah. And I do think that there's a difference when you are older and have success because it's like a lot of young kids that come from Disney and Nickelodeon. It's tough, like can you imagine being super successful at the age of 15 and 14? Like it's really hard. And you're already going through your own stuff. Like, you go through your normal, like, who am I in the world? And like, what am I doing? And trying to navigate relationships. So I feel like because I didn't, gain success until after I'd gone through all of those things, I was really like, okay, I was able to really separate the business from my personal life and know that it's a job and I'm at home myself.
Yeah.
So I was, I think, able to kind of navigate it a little bit better.
So even though you were developing new projects and working on your business and all these things, amazing things during the pandemic, was that really the first time you had stopped really like actually working outside of your home and your entire life almost?
Literally, I had never had that much time off in my life.
Yeah.
Like my life since 3 years old. I've always been working, like I never did like a summer camp. I definitely went to regular school and had those experiences, but I was like auditioning after school and working, so it's like, I've never had that much time off. So I really didn't know like what I was going to go through, but of course, just who I am, like I'm always creating and then I was creating a life at the same time. I was
Yeah.
So I really did though. It was such a beautiful like time to get pregnant. Like I can't imagine being pregnant with like even now, like it would be hard to just like navigate that and stuff. But that was a beautiful time to kind of be able to like be pregnant and also be able to like see my daughter and work. I'm still working from home, which is really, different. And so I've really been able to have those moments where I'm like, okay, like this is different, but I get to see my daughter every day and like, she's growing constantly. So yeah, so there definitely, obviously we all went through some highs and lows, but it was kind of a moment where I really got to just like I guess sit back and figure out like what I wanted to do next. I think that I went through a lot of changes like everybody else. Um, I wasn't comfortable acting with people because I was really anxious about everything, and especially being pregnant. So I wasn't like the most comfortable doing a movie or TV show, but I, like I said, I think I created something that was like way more meaningful out of that.
That's what I was going to ask you, because I do think there's a lot of young moms right now that have been pregnant or given birth during the pandemic, where now that things are getting back to normal a little bit, the anxiety is very high because it's a totally different thing. You're not pregnant out in the world. You're not doing all the same things that everybody was doing before. So I know that a lot of other women have dealt with that too. How have you kind of adjusted now to having a young child that you're like, oh, I didn't go anywhere and now we can go outside, but this is scary.
Yes. Yeah. I'm still like, for me, I'm still like masking up, and like I have had COVID, but I had like a really isolating time with it. I was in my room for 8 days away from my husband and the baby, and they did not have it. So I'm still very nervous and clearly have anxiety already. So of course I'm going to be anxious about it, but I am starting to like, let go. The one thing I've never wanted to do is put my anxiety on my daughter. So I've had her in her Sunday, like she has a class with all our friends and their babies, and they've been in it since they were 4 months old. And so it's like I always was checked myself being like, okay, it might make me anxious, but like it's important for her to socialize and be around other kids. And so I feel like now we're even, more kind of seeing other people and going out a little bit more. But yeah, it's a weird time to raise, a child. It's the stuff that people have never had to think about, that we're, like there was definitely earlier when she was only a couple months old, me just like clocking if we're out to a restaurant, even outside, I was like clocking how close somebody was to her and stuff like that, that you normally would not have to think about. And so it's been challenging, but it's also, like I said, I think that even when there's things that are challenging, there's also positives. I try to look at the positive a lot more than kind of like, the anxious negatives, because like I said, I would not have been able to, my life before, I wouldn't be able to, like, I would never have been working at home. So it's kind of cool to be able to have this with her and before she goes to school.
Right. Yeah. And now you're raising a daughter, you're working from home, you have your own brand. Are you going to do any more acting? Are you taking a break from that? What's the plan going forward?
Yeah. So of course I developed something else. I was like, I'm always developing a lot of stuff. Having a child, people said this would happen, but I was like, I don't think so. And it's so true. It does happen. You things just change for you, like you look at things differently. I think before I was willing to just be like, yeah, I'll do that job. Yeah, I'll do that role, because I love to work. I'm a workaholic and I love it. But I think that like when I had her, she really just inspired me, and I really got more focused in what I wanted to do. And I was just like, I've been wanting to do a TV series, a single camera comedy, like a really grounded series for a long time, for years. But I would always just kind of like, oh, okay, get distracted by something else that I was going to do. And so I, had the time to really be like, okay, like what does that look like? And what is that character? And so I actually did develop something. I can't say much about it. But yes, I will definitely be going back into acting soon.
That's amazing.
That's exciting.
That sounds very exciting.
Well, it sounds like you are constantly, developing, coming up with ideas, and you have all these great shows, to on your resume to prove it. What are you consuming? Like, what are you watching? Or do you even watch other stuff, or is it just like how?
Oh, yeah.
Because I just feel like sometimes people are so when you're in the acting and the development side, like you're so busy and you miss all the stuff that's being made, or you just consume everything.
We consume everything.
I consume a lot of TV. The shows, like, Ted Lasso is like one of my favorite shows. I've watched that like actually again. I think it's so good. I mean, Handmaid's Tale, obviously, when it's on, I love. I watch everything, comedy to like dark, dramas. But I've recently have gotten into Magnolia Kitchens, or is it no Magnolia Network? The Lost Kitchen is like, I'm obsessed with it. I've been watching that like every night. I love a good like fixer upper type of show. So, like this show called Capturing Home on it. I'm like obsessed with watching that. I love interior design. So it's just like, of course, the Magnolia Network is like my favorite thing ever. But I consume so much TV. I love Dave. Dave, I've watched like multiple.
That's so good.
So good.
Dave is hilarious.
Yeah, I think that, I definitely, it's one of my favorite things to do at night with my husband is like, okay, cool. We put the baby to sleep and like, now let's watch a show.
Do you watch any reality TV?
Yes, but Bravo.
We're Bravo fans. We're Bravo fans.
I mean, every Real Housewife. It's honestly the reason why I even know about Bravo is because I used to have a production company and I produced a lot of reality stuff. And my first show to ever get picked up was by the network Bravo. And this was like, I would say 10 years ago. And so I was like, I gotta check out this network. Like I'm going to have a show on it. And I got sucked into the Housewives, and I have not stopped since. And my husband's like, I still can't believe it's just like every single one. I love it.
What's your favorite one?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it changes. It's like obviously when it's like in season and on, I'm like, this is my favorite one. But it's like,
yes,
every single one of them. I mean, I love so many different characters. I mean, like I look at them as characters, but like, gosh, I don't know. Like all of them are just so wild. They're so wild. I felt like it was so funny. Me and my mom friends went on a little kind of like weekend retreat. Not even, it was really actually a night away. And I was like, this feels like a Real Housewives. Like all the moms leaving.
Yeah, the ultimate girls trip like they did on Peacock.
Yeah, like living out my Real Housewives dreams. So
that is so funny.
We love Real
Housewives. I've watched everything as well too, and I do think we were joking because we have been so locked into this is kind of a change, but the Elvis movie we were so invested in, and when Austin Butler got cast, we were like, oh my God, Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure, like this is crazy.
And we kept telling everyone, we were like, we were on the Austin Butler train before everybody else was. Everybody's like, oh, he's Elvis, but like
on the Austin Butler train since he was like 15 or 14 years old. So I totally get it. I always tell him like, I found you. I was like, I started your career.
You're like,
totally. No, we believe that.
You were just the lead in a Baz Luhrmann movie. You're welcome.
Yes, for real. No, I'm so like, I was obviously so excited for him. I mean,
he was so good.
The Fox movie that we did, and we became best friends back then and have been in each other's lives. And like, he is literally like one of my best friends and such a good guy. And I couldn't be happier for someone because he really, what I loved about him and his journey is that he really set out to like, he wanted to do other things, and he kept on getting offers to do things that he had been doing. And he was like, no, like I really, he's just has always worked so hard on his craft. And so this was just like you could just see that he like spent so much time saying no to certain work, and you're like, oh, I just hope it happens for him, like that he gets to where he wants to go. And so seeing him do all of these things and like really thriving is just awesome. And he's so talented.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, he literally became Elvis.
He really did.
He really did. I know. Like, yeah, his voice changed, and I was like, but, like it's just, I think when that's for an actor, that is a really hard thing to do. Like imagine taking your job is to take on someone who everybody has loved and known, and you're like, you don't want to come off fake and not like, you want to really dive into that. And so it's just like, to me, I respect anybody, however they have to get there. It's like, do it. But also he was playing that character because it got shut down and everything because of COVID. he was there for 2 years. So
Yeah.
imagine like, working on your voice for 2 years to sound like Elvis. Like it's going to be hard to kind of come out of it for sure. But yeah, I mean, actors that really dive into that stuff, it's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
he was
definitely is.
phenomenal.
He really was amazing in the movie. So it's I love that you guys are still connected. That's so great.